Hey guys, so today we're going to be installing Proxmox on this Mac Mini down here. Now I've already installed it on this guy right here, and now I'm going to just do a quick video showing you how we can install it on this guy. Eventually they're going to be set up as a cluster. For now I'm just going to do the basic install on this Mac Mini down here. These guys over here both have ESXi. This one's powered on, this one is not powered on yet. I'm waiting to make a couple more network cables for them. I have my switch over here, so I've got my VMware cluster and my Proxmox cluster. So today we're going to show you how to install Proxmox on this guy. So we got a basic Proxmox installation USB. Gonna power this on and hold the Alt button. All right, so here we are at the boot screen, and apologies for all the smudges on the screen and the glare and everything. I would do a screen capture, but you can't really capture at this point in the boot process or while I'm installing. So I'm recording the screen with my camera. So anyways, yeah, it took a little bit of fiddling around with, with this monitor. I'm using this Samsung monitor along with my Mac Mini, and apparently they just don't like to, So some people have no problem at all, and sometimes I've seen people report all kinds of issues getting them to sync up and actually getting it to display HDMI. It shouldn't be an issue, but I had to have it, keep searching for a signal. Anyways, that's a whole nother story, but here we go. Basically, when it boots up, you press the power button on the Mac Mini, hold the Alt key if you're using a PC keyboard. It's going to be swapped around with the other key if you're on a Mac keyboard. Any case, basically the button that I showed you. Anyways, so here we are at the boot prompt. This first disk is your Macintosh HD, and that will have the macOS installer. In this case, it's factory reset, so that will install macOS. Grub and EFI boot are going to boot off of the USB disk, and we're going to select EFI boot. So let's go ahead with that, and here we go, Proxmox. So we can install it. We can do, we could install it in debug mode, we could do rescue mode or test memory. We're just gonna do the installer. So it's looking for DHCP. It's not going to find it. I actually haven't even plugged an Ethernet cable into this one yet. I will a little bit later today, but not in this video. So we're going to give it a static IP anyways, but all right, so we're going to accept this user agreement, and we are going to, we have the target hard disk selected. That's fine. Technically, let's see, options. Nothing we want to mess around with here right now. I'm just going to click next. All right, country, we are going to, once we start typing, it gives us some options. So right here, we're just gonna pick United States, and we're going to pick, I don't know if you can type and get to what you gotta scroll through everything. All right, but not too far. America, New York, US English, click next. All right, we gotta come up with a password. Let's see here. All right, now for mail, I'm going to, let's see, I don't want to share my email address on this video, so I also don't want to mess with my camera at all. Let me just go right ahead and, I'm just going to block this for a second. I'm just gonna cut the video out for like half a second. I'm gonna type in my email and just click next. I just don't wanna share my email on the video itself. I mean, there are ways to get it. If you wanna contact me, leave a comment down below, and you can probably find me on Twitter or something. And if you're someone I need to be talking to, I can share my email that way. But anyways, I'm going to stop the video real quick for a sec. And there we go. So I hit next, and here we are. We are going to put in a host name. So let me see what I call my first Proxmox box. Proxmox box. So I'm gonna go take a quick look. All right, so we called our first box Lion 1. So I actually I'm going with an animal name theme. So I called my my ESXi servers, I called them Tiger 1 and 2. So I'm gonna call my Proxmox servers Lion 1 and 2. And this is actually Lion 1. So Lion, or this is Lion 2 rather. I did Lion 1 already. Anyways, lab.net. I just picked lab.net as my domain name for my internal lab. It didn't resolve when I checked it last time. I think it's private or not used. I'm not sure. Either case, I'm fine using that for my internal lab. If there's some kind of conflict because I mischecked something, that's also fine. No big deal. All right, anyways, all right, IP address. All right, so our first one was, all right, so our first Proxmox server is 184, so we're gonna go with 185 for this guy. Oops, 185. Now, don't ask me why I picked that high up in the range, but I did. I have this one network that I'm slicing up for a whole bunch of different purposes. I have VMs on my desktop, I have VMs on my, on VMware and Proxmox and a bunch of other things and other random things on my network. So I might rearrange it at some point, but for now, this is what I'm going with. All right, so 3.1 for our gateway. DNS server is going to be, let's see if we can actually copy and paste for this. Yes, we can. All right, so DNS server is 22. So that's where my DNS server, that's actually my Linux desktop. Not where I'd like to permanently keep my DNS server, but that's where it is for now. So I've been, bringing it up and down with Ansible, and I've got that set up pretty nicely so far. So I'm gonna use that as my DNS server. And what else here? Normally, if you don't have your own DNS server, just type 8888. So I'll show you real quick. So I'm gonna copy that out, and you could say like this. Now this is Google's DNS. I prefer that over an ISP's because the ISPs sometimes give you wrong information. Sometimes they try to like block things by just saying, hey, we don't have an entry for that. So I don't trust ISPs ever. I would always just go with Google's DNS servers. Anyways, here we go. Here's my own DNS server, which should forward to Google for anything needed. So I'm still technically using Google's DNS servers for everything but my internal network. Now, click next. All right, so this is like, and there's my email. Maybe I'll remember to censor that out, or maybe I'll leave that in there and random people can spam me. All right, anyways, automatically reboot after, yeah, so install. Now we're gonna hit the install. Now this part, so I'm gonna leave this going and come back. I'm probably gonna speed up this part of the video. So I'm gonna set this to like 10 times the speed, and it's gonna speed through in like 2 seconds. But right now we're just gonna sit here and wait and watch it. And there we go. So we've got Proxmox installed, and all right, look at that. It's automatically restarting. I believe I checked the checkbox for that. Please remove the media and bring it up. And it's not gonna boot off the disk by default, so I technically don't have to remove the media, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead. Here's our bootloader. It's gonna boot up to this, all right, before I can even hit the button. All right, so I'm gonna pull out the USB drive. It doesn't matter, but I'm gonna pull it out because I'm gonna put it away. But yeah, it's booting up now. We're gonna see it boot up. We're not actually gonna, from there we can basically just access it from the, the command line, or sorry, the web GUI. But let's see. Let's see if this actually, all right, there we go. There's our login prompt. We're gonna log into this from here just to try it out. We're not gonna really do anything. So we can say root there we go, logged right in. Now we can say uname-a, and as we can see there, so no hint of it really being Debian, but this is Debian. So Proxmox is using Debian Linux. You know, it's all built on top of Debian. From what I read anyway. Oh yeah. So it tells you right there, right after you log in, it tells you Debian, with no warranty, etc., etc. So there's that. And I think that's from Etsy issue, but let's check Etsy issue. Yeah, sorry. Etsy issue. All right. So yeah, this is, all right. So this is before the login. Tells you it's a Proxmox server. I forget where the message about it being Debian when you log in comes from, but we're not going to look for that. Anyways, it's Debian. So, you know, you do you name A, it doesn't tell you Debian, but it tells you like the Linux kernel and stuff. Tells you the host name, etc. Anyway, let's check the CPUs. Proc CPU. So see, we got 4 CPUs in there, or at least 4 cores anyways. Yeah, Intel iCore 5, you know, 3210M CPU at 2.5 gigahertz. We got 8 gigs of memory, so free-m. So we can see right down there, there's our 8 gigs of memory, with you know, caching and buffering and all that stuff. So anyways, that's all fine and great. We're gonna get out of here, and I'm going to move the camera over. So I actually have, so my other desk work area is a little messy, more than a little messy, but I'm gonna move this over. I'm not even gonna cut the camera away. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna first move this over. So yeah, that screen we were on over there is where I normally have my Linux workstation plugged in. So I normally access things from there. But a lot of times I access things from over here on my, from over here on my Windows workstation. So I mostly use this for video games. So this is on my Windows box. I mostly use this for video games, and sometimes for, I log into work for this. I use Citrix and, you know, get a remote connection to my desktop. Anyway, so two main things I use this for are that, but sometimes I'll also log into servers and stuff from here. I've actually recently found out that PowerShell has the, I'm probably really late to the party with this, but PowerShell gives you the ability to directly just SSH to a Linux or Unix server, which was pretty excellent. I was actually really impressed with that. PowerShell is actually pretty great. You know, even coming from a Linux-centric environment. You know, I'm not a Windows admin by any means. I mean, I haven't worked as one or anything, but yeah, PowerShell is pretty good. It's a pretty great, you got to give Microsoft some credit. Anyway, so this is Proxmox. This is the server I already set up before. So I just created my first test VM on this. I haven't actually started it up or done anything with it. But this is my other Proxmox instance that I have set up before. Notice this is 184. So one thing you want to make sure, type in HTTPS. So you can't just type the IP in the port. You actually have to tell it HTTPS, otherwise it's going to give you an error. Anyways, that's what happened for me. Anyways, we are going to go to 5. Now this is going to give us an error also because it's not on the network. So let's type in a 5. This is our second Proxmox server. It's not going to load until what I'm going to actually do is swap the network cable. So while we sit here and wait for that to not load, I'm going to swap the network cable with my first Proxmox server and my second. Now I have more network cables, but I actually have to build the network cables. I'm actually putting our J45 plugs on the end of Cat5. So I haven't created the network cables for this yet. So for now, I'm just going to kind of share a network cable. So I'm going to go swap the cable right now. And there we go. I have just swapped the cable. Let's see how quickly, and there we go. Now it sees, Chrome was able to see right away that all of a sudden the page is ready. It says there's a cert error. That's because we're not using an official cert registered with, an actual authority. It's our home server on our home network. It will never really, unless we add it to our browser or something. Either way, from here you could just say advanced proceed unsafe. It's not really unsafe because we just set it up ourselves and it's on our local network. So here we go. Here's the Proxmox login. I'm gonna log in as root and type in our password. Let me see if I can focus more on the screen. Yeah, it's as focused as it's gonna get. And there we go. So we don't have a valid subscription, that's fine. All right, so here we go. This is our Proxmox server. You know, it shows we have storage, on the, we have local and local LVM. I believe this is for like images and for like templates and ISOs and stuff. And this is for actual containers and VM disk images. Anyways, so yeah, so like ISOs, backups, CT templates go over here, VM disks, CT volumes, stuff like that. So you can see our whole data center as a whole, and you can see the summary shows you contain LXC containers and virtual machines, your memory and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, only one node because we don't have this set up as a cluster, standalone node, no cluster defined. So yeah, you can look at it from the data center view. You know, there's no replication set up or anything. We haven't done anything with the firewall. You know, we got basic storage. There's no Ceph set up. I'd like to do that later. No clusters. We can look at it from the node view. It's got notes. We got a summary. We can see, so these graphs actually look pretty cool, especially once they start moving across and you see more data. So I actually think that this is really, I mean, they look cool, and I think it's easier to follow the way they colored this in than VMware. But anyways, you can actually click on here and it gives you a shell right on the system. So you don't have to SSH in or anything. You get a shell right on the system. So that I thought was really cool. Seems like they just have tons of awesome features for free just by default. Here's the network. I haven't played around with networking. My personal overview, my personal opinion on this, at least my initial impression, is that this is a cleaner, nicer interface than VMware. So VMware ESXi was pretty nice, but this just, to me, my first gut impression or whatever, just tells me that this is slightly cleaner and nicer, and obviously has more features for free. It's still, you know, there's still, you know, it's open source and all, but this is still like, you know, this company is still here for profit and everything, so they do try to sell you things, but not as much as with VMware. Now, not to knock VMware or anything, they're still great and everything, and they're kind of like the gold standard of virtualization. But anyways, so what else do we have here? Yeah, we can check our DNS, our host information, you know, not a whole lot else interesting to look at here. Well, I shouldn't say that. There are other interesting things. You can see repos, stuff like that. You know, they're different. You can get disks from different places. Yeah, no Ceph setup. We looked at that already. You can look at task history. Not a whole lot's happened so far. That's about all we're going to cover today. Just to give you a quick view of what Proxmox looks like after we install it. Now, when we show you more, we're going to do more with this GUI, but we're actually going to do a screen capture. So you're not going to have to deal with this poor video quality of me actually recording my screen with a camera. So, you know, going forward, any Proxmox videos, I'm probably going to be just, you know, doing a screen capture. So I'll probably have this, you know, maximized to full screen, and I'll just do a screen capture of everything that I'm doing here. But yeah, we have a lot more Proxmox stuff and a lot more VMware stuff coming up. A lot of stuff in general. We're going to be working with Kubernetes and a ton of other neat stuff. So yeah, you're going to want to stay tuned for that. You're probably going to want to hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell icon. That way YouTube will actually notify you when I come out with a new video. Otherwise, they're probably not going to notify you. You might want to give us a thumbs up, but what you really want to do is just leave a comment down below. If you know something I don't know, you have any questions, comments, criticisms, whatever you want to say, I want to hear it. I try to get back to people when I can. I'm not completely consistent about getting back to people, but I try to keep on top of comments and stuff. So definitely leave a comment down below, whatever you want to say. We probably want to hear it. And that's pretty much it for today. That is how to install. That's me installing Proxmox on a Mac Mini. So we are going to do the cluster setup later on in a future video. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for a lot of stuff. I've probably already published my VMware videos, or at least some of them. I have a ton of those coming up too, so you might want to check my video history, and you might want to stay tuned for that. So yeah, that's basically it. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next time.